Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bolachem L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Hello.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is so nice to see all of you on this fine Erev Shabbat. So nice to see you too, Rabbi. Okay, great. Thank you for responding, everyone, at the same time. Great. Those of you who may not know, that is Cantor Muchnick right over there. And I'm Rabbi Keller right over here. And like I said, we are thrilled you are here with us. If you are here physically in our sanctuary, or if you are with us with our CBI extension on the live stream, also thrilled to have you. Hello and welcome. You can, my microphone is not happy with me. It's doing this all the time. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, so if you are joining us on the live stream, we are also thrilled that you are here and joining us. And you can join us fully and completely, if you'd like, by going to our website, cbiboca.org. And now I think this is working. Yes? Okay. cbiboca.org. And you can go to that site, go to the upper left corner, hit the menu button. Once you hit menu, there'll be another button that says Services. You can hit that button and then scroll down a bit, and you'll see a picture of Cantor Muchnick without a mask. And right next to it, there'll be a button that says Sidur or Prayer Book, and then you can be fully present with us to pray along and chant along throughout our whole service with us on this wonderful evening. So it is Shabbat. So Erev Shabbat, so we get to celebrate together, and we are also going to be lucky enough to have much of the Stein family here, a whole bunch over there in that row, celebrating Eden tomorrow, 4:45 p.m. 5, is it 5? Tomorrow. It's tomorrow here at Congregation B'nai Israel. And we cannot wait to celebrate. And so in honor of said celebration, we are going to invite several of the mishpucha up here to light Shabbat candles. So we will invite Eden, we need her, Lily and Emma and Mom Jen to join us up here. And then we'll have Dad David also join us, just to stand here, because right after the candles is also the Kiddush, so you might as well come up too. So everyone come up, join us. I don't know. Test. Test. Hi, how's it going?
Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kinishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Now that we are amidst our Shabbat candles are lit, and our sanctity of Shabbat has begun. I'm going to fight this microphone all night. Let's see. All right, so now that our sanctity is here, we are going to continue to sweeten it with Kiddush. So we're turning now to page 5 in our Siddur, and we're going to have two Davids. Cantor David Muchnick and David Stein help us with the Kiddush.
He's got a nicer voice, though.
Yeah, but you start and he'll pick up. All right, go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu
Borei.
b'rei peri hagafen.
Amen.
There you go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu Meshabbat kodsho me'ahava u'bratzon hinchilanu Zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit Ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh Zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim Ki vanu bacharta v'yotanu Kidashta mikol hamim Meshabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'bratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen.
We are going to continue now with our Kabbalat Shabbat service, which continues on page 10. Page 10.
Yedi nefesh al harachaman Mishol chavdecha eretzonecha Yarutz avdecha kemo ayal Ishtachaveh el muhadarecha Yerav lo yedidutecha mino vetzut bechol ta'am Adonai eziv haolam nafshi cholat ahavatecha ana elna refanala beharot la noam zivecha az titchazek ותתרפא והייתה לה שמחת עולם. ידעין לי לי לי, ידעין לי לי לי, ידעין לי 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 לי, ידעין לי לי, ידעין לי לי לי, ידעין לי לי לי, ידעין לי 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 לי, ידעין לי לי, ידעין לי לי לי, ידעין לי לי לי, ידעין לי 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 לי, ידעין לי לי לי, ידעין לי לי לי, ידעין לי לי לי,
We continue now with. Is this working? I don't know. Is this working? Let's go to our show. Hold on. Test. Oh, how about this? That works. We're going to continue now with our section of Kabbalat Shabbat. Continuing with our section of Psalms and our upbeat connections to welcoming in our Shabbat bride and bringing in the relaxation of Shabbat with the words of Romemu, which Psalm 99 on page 17, all the way at the bottom. All the way at the bottom on page 17.
רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו.
As we continue to bring our Shabbat bride into our midst, perhaps no other section of our Psalms, no other piyut, no other beautiful tune or melody or word of elevation does better to welcome in the Shabbat bride than the words of Lecha Dodi, the words of Shlomo Halevi. These are on page 20 and 21 in our Sidur. 20 and 21. We'll be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And for verse 9, we'll be standing and facing the door to welcome in the Shabbat bride. Lecha Dodi, page 20.
לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ותפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו בניך כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוך סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי כי באורך ומאורי אורי שידברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבלה בואי משלום עצרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבלה לי 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 לך דודי לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבלה.
Please be seated. We continue with our section of Psalms on this Erev Shabbat to bring in, like I said, our Shabbat bride. The words of Tzaddik Katamar Ifrach, the idea that the righteous shall bloom like a date palm, and once that righteousness flows from us, we can all appreciate our community, ourselves, the presence of God. And so we continue with Psalm 92 on page 22. Psalm 92 on page 22. The bottom section, the indented section, is where we're going to continue, where it says Tzaddik Katamar, page 22.
Tzaddik Katamar Yifrach Ke'erez Balvanon Yizkeh Shetunim Beveit Adonai Bechatzrut Eloheinu Yafrichu Odinuvun Beseva Deshenim Ra'ananim Yashar Adonai Suri Melo Avlatabo
We are going to transition now out of our section of Psalms and out of Kabbalat Shabbat. And that great transitioner is our Chatzi Kaddish, which can be found on page 26.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Leolam Lol Mehalmaya Yitbarach Yitbarach Veishtabach Vitpar Vitroma Vitnase Veithadar Veitale Veitalal Shemei de Kudesha Berichu Le'ela Min Kol Bechata Veshirata Tush Bechata V'nechemata Damiran Be'olma Ve'imeru Amen.
Continue now with our call to worship, the Baruch Hu, which is on page 28, and together we stand.
Lai 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 Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Elai, lai, 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 lai,
We thank God for making nights with Ma'ariv Aravim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, b'chokhma poteach she'arim ובבונה משנה עתים, ומחליף את הזמנים ומסדר את הכוכבים, במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. Baruch atah Adonai Ma'ariv Aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening. We continue now on page 33. At the bottom, where we will alternate paragraphs. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us, and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works, living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. 34:35.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated. We continue on page 36.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. We continue on the top of page 39. Let's read that together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt. There's a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Mi Chamocha on page 40.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai, who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai. מלכותך ראו בניך בוקי הים, לפני משה ומרים זה אלינו, ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Who is like you? Adonai, who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter through life storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts. We may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai apores sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We continue Vishamru, top of page 44.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת.
What do I usually say here?
Everything Dan Nichols writes is
Everything
just
Dan
wonderful.
Nichols writes is so good. That was Dan Nichols who wrote that. I mean, also, everything you sing is phenomenal.
Oh, stop it. No,
Oh
keep
my
going.
God. Go on.
Keep going.
Go on. Oh, please go on. However, that is so good. Isn't it so good?
One of my favorites.
He's so good. We're going to say it every single time that we sing something by Dan Nichols. Which I think we do, so we're just going to continue to say.
We could do a whole service of just Dan Nichols one Friday night.
We could do it. We could do a Dan Nichols. We could bring Dan Nichols.
We should bring Dan
And then
Nichols.
we could do a Dan Nichols night. Would that be great? How many people have ever seen Dan Nichols live? Anyone? Yeah. No? Great. I have. You've seen him live before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sang with him.
How come
yeah.
you didn't raise your hand when I just asked the question?
I was looking out to see.
Great.
who-
Okay, great. You were looking out to see if anyone else raised their hand.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to continue now that we had a little love fest of Dan Nichols with our Amidah, which is on page 46 in our Siddur, and together we stand.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avoteinu v'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekone Hakol, Vezocher Chaste Avot Ve'imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Umagen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah, Atagi Boleolam Adonai, Mechaye Hakol Atarav Leoshia, Mashiva ruach umorina kashem. Mechakel chaim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, tzomech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha bal gevurot. Umido melach, melech memit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'neman ata lehachayot hakol. Baruch ata Adonai, mechaye hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
We take some time now for our own silent prayers, thoughts, and meditations, beginning here on page 52, going through page 62. And when you're finished, please be seated.
Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen, amen. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru Amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru Amen.
Prior to the pandemic, well, I guess, yeah, prior to the pandemic, flying was a little bit better. Now it's a little more I would say prior to 9/11, flying was lovely. Then flying got, and now flying is, right? So flying has kind of decreased. Those were the official sounds, by the way, according to the TSA, of the sound of flying. To where we are now. So, but what's interesting about flights is that if you've been on one recently, on any flight, really, it's the last few minutes of a flight have a lot of different emotions, because for the passengers, you're done. It's kind of nice. That's when the landing gear, you hear go down, you pull your seat back up, you put all your stuff away, you zip all the zippers, and you take all the cups and the tray tables are back up, and that's when I like to do my hair so it looks nice when I get off the plane. Thank you for the three of you who are paying attention to what I'm saying. Yes, so it's all these really important things when you come off the plane. So we're kind of relaxed and hoping for the ending. And by the way, for the pilot and the co-pilot and the crew, it's very challenging. This is a very challenging time for them, because landing is a big deal. The approach, the landing, the airspeed. The National Transportation Safety Board and Boeing put out all these interesting stories about how careful you have to be on the landing and the approach and the winds and the visibility and the precipitation and the clouds and all that stuff. Right? We're all just happy to get the plane down safely, and they're really trying to make sure the plane comes down safely. So it's there's a huge difference. So obviously a big thanks for this landing and for the approach, clearly because of the frequencies and all of the technology, the pilot's equipment, all of those things really help us to feel relieved when we land. So I want to talk to you about the approach, actually, which is the same idea of what pilots do as they make their landing. They always angle the approach, right? Because sometimes you'll notice on the plane, even though the runway is over here, they have to do a big swing around or on different angles. So it's all about the approach for the landing. And the Torah portion this week, which is called Vayigash, is all about the approach. Now, there are no planes in this story because we're talking about the Bible, but we are talking about this fabulous Torah portion called Vayigash. And Vayigash is the second to last, or this is what I like to make myself sound very smart, penultimate, if you will. Thank you very much. I'll be here all week. The second to last Torah portion in the book of Genesis. And it is also the third of the four parts of the ending of Joseph and his brothers, which, if you have been following, has been quite the epic and complicated story. So if you know about the story, you know that the story starts where Joseph gets the coat from his dad Jacob, and we find out from Jacob that Joseph is his favorite son out of all of the children that he has, which are a total of, by the way, of 13 children. And so, which isn't a very good way to have relationships with children, clearly. And Joseph doesn't help himself. He, rather than says, no, bros, we're all in this together. Dad might think I'm special, but we're all special. He doesn't say that. He's more of the na, 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 na. He's kind of that kid, and he perpetuates the fact that Dad thinks he's the most important. And so eventually the brothers want to kill him. Instead, they sell him. This is all in previous Torah portions. They sell him. He gets sold to Egypt, and he ends up in jail. And after jail, he actually ends up, because he interprets a bunch of dreams in front of the Pharaoh, interprets the dreams correctly. And because he interprets the dream correctly, he gets to be the viceroy, the vice president, if you will, of all of Egypt, which is pretty cool. He also predicts a famine, which is a big deal. And so there are storehouses ready to go in Egypt. And since everyone else has to come to Egypt for the food, while Joseph is doling out the food to everybody, lo and behold, who enter the chamber for food but his brothers, who do not recognize him because he looks like Pharaoh, essentially, looks like an Egyptian. He doesn't walk like an Egyptian, thank you very much, but he looks like an Egyptian. And he sort of starts to play games with them because he knows who they are, but they don't know who he is. And this is what has been developing in our Torah portion. And so at this point in Vayigash, we get to a very critical moment where Judah, one of the brothers, starts to come forward, leaps towards him, and starts to beg and plead, essentially. This is the approach, right? Because Vayigash means to approach. So this is the approach. He approaches him. By the way, tomorrow morning, if you want to join us at 8:30 in the morning on Zoom for Torah study, we'll be discussing this word approach, by the way, in several contexts, because the Torah and the Bible have different interpretations of the approach. Some people say he approaches him like, oh, please. And some interpret that his approach is a little angrier and nastier. So that is for us to discuss tomorrow. I'll leave you in suspense. I can tell through your masks, by the way, that you're thinking to yourselves, please tell us the answer, please tell us. I'm not going to. We're going to wait till the morning. So Judah shows up, he approaches, and he begs, and it's at that moment that Joseph says, everyone else clear the chamber except for these people, his brothers, and he has the big reveal. Whoosh. He takes off the mask, and he says, brothers, it's me, Joseph. To which they are in shock. And the Torah actually says the word dumbfounded. They are in shock, and it's a very powerful moment, which we'll be discussing more tomorrow. Really, Joseph, by the way, at this point, can do anything he wants. He's the vice president of Egypt. He could have squashed him like a bug. He could have lied. He could have been nasty. He could have been cruel. He could have jailed them. He could have killed them. His approach could have been in any direction, right? We don't know what his approach is either. We'll be talking about this approach also tomorrow morning. So we don't know what his approach was, and we don't know what Judah's approach was in this situation. But here is what Joseph says, right from the text. It says, brothers, don't worry, right from the text, God sent me ahead of you so I could be here to give you food, to take care of you. So don't worry, I'm not here to hurt you. God, through this whole maze that you sent me, has brought me here so I could bring you food. You and then Dad, who is Jacob, who's still alive, by the way, right? So Joseph chooses this kind way. He sought, we presume, this unity, there is this nice, unifying, beautiful way that we can look at this piece of text to say the approach was lovely, hypothetically. Again, we'll be discussing the nuances of this tomorrow morning. Can you tell I'm reiterating the importance of maybe showing up tomorrow, because this is a really good one to show up to. It's at 8:30. It's on Zoom. You don't have to go anywhere. You could just roll out of bed and sit there. That's what we do. We can't do that tomorrow, though, because we have to come here. But we'll be here tomorrow morning, by the way. We'll be Zooming, but we'll be doing it from here. So, yes. So there's this reunification that happens because Joseph decides to bring this approach. So I invite us all on this Shabbat to reflect on this, idea of the approach, on how we approach things in life. How do we approach a situation? How do we approach a loved one? How do we approach something serious, something funny, something sad, something tragic, something generous and wonderful and happy, something mundane? Anything, how do we approach these things? Because the way that we do can also, perhaps, affect the outcome of everything else that we do. Perhaps. Because we will see that in our Torah portion. Because next week is sort of the back half of this major transition. And next week's going to really help us figure out where everyone stands at the end of the 4 weeks of the discussion of Joseph and his brothers. So I invite all of us not just to appreciate the fact that pilots are landing a plane while we're zipping our bags, and flight attendants are putting away our cups, not just for cleanliness, but for our own safety, and for visibility, and for checking the wind. So appreciate that approach, but also I hope that you'll take this Shabbat and many Shabbatot to come to think about how we approach things in our lives with our families and our community. Shabbat Shalom. We are going to think of those in our community who are in need of healing, physical, emotional, or spiritual healing. We think of Chava Leah but Esther, Gary Bandel, Lillian Bichelle, Sloan Caston, Brian Church, Karen Coles, Chuck Curry, Casey Daskell, Mark Davis, John Day, Jaden Deal, Jill Gottlieb, Anthony D. Gian Tomaso, Judith Stratler, Margot Engel, Bobby Fitchman, Herbert Fitchman, Stuart Fruman, Sarah Tzipora bat Malka, Martin Edelman, Chava Reina bat Esther, Ellen Hedrick, Larry Horn, Paulette Howard, Stan Jacobson, Ira Kafka, Shirley Kafka, Gary Kane, Michelle Kingen, Esther Rhoda Kaufman, Stuart Kruger, Gloria Land, Rochelle Liebman, Gloria Plotsky, Elliot Porwich, Mark Rosenberg, Lexi Schleschenberg, Jason Seidman, David Schwartz, Diane Spiro, Barbara Weiss, Michael Medoff. To those names, we add any name that you would like to add at this time. Misha Berach can be found on page 253.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavo Faith, refuah, shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Some announcements for us on this fine Erev Shabbat. Once again, tomorrow morning, 8:30 is our service with Torah study. That is on Zoom. You can find that Zoom on cbiboca.org. So that's tomorrow at 11:15. If you want to join us here in the sanctuary, we are going to be once again having a Shabbat service, and we're going to have a green celebration where Justin is becoming a bar mitzvah. And then tomorrow evening, Steins. That was good. That was good, Eden. That was good. That was good. Thanks, Eden. What else? Tickets are available for Henry Winkler. We had a section of our tickets closed. We closed already. I think one group of tickets were closed. We've reopened them. We have another set of tickets now open. So there's a whole other section we're going to be opening here in the in our space, in our sanctuary. But it is a very, very constricted number of numbers because we are going to be cautious of our COVID numbers. That is just not only CBI, but also the Henry Winkler people are asking us to have only a cap of certain numbers. So if you are planning to attend, please get tickets very soon because you don't want to miss a chance to hang out with Henry Winkler. Hey. All right. Tried that. Please note that on Christmas Eve and on New Year's Eve, which are both Friday nights, services will be at a very special and very early time of 5:30 p.m. Yes, 5:30 p.m. This is a one-time, just for timing sake. We weren't sure on people's schedules or where people would be traveling, so we are doing services at 5:30, both on Christmas Eve. That is mostly for anyone who works at Congregation B'nai Israel who would like to particularly go home, anyone on our staff who would like to go home and be with their families. And the New Year's Eve is because we don't know if anyone's really going to be coming here for New Year's Eve. So we're even debating if we're coming. We might just put up a couple of like billboard things here and just hit play and see if you notice. See if you notice a difference. By the way, if you do that and we get comments to say that was the best service at Congregation B'nai Israel ever, that'll be really sad.
We'll be packing up our offices.
Yeah, exactly. They'll be like, they were so dynamic. That was the best. That sermon was, they had singing. I've never heard the cantors sing that great.
Those guys didn't even move.
They didn't even move. Wah, wah. We'll be here all week. I think those are all the announcements. Are there other announcements, Cantor Muchnick?
No.
No. Okay. We are going to begin to conclude our service. Aleinu can be found on page 282, and together we stand.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגאון עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו ושמו אחד.
We mourn the passing of Philip Siegel, husband of our member Shelley Siegel. We also think of those in the period of Shloshim, the immediate 30-day mourning period, Mitchell Lubitz and Arlene Portnoy, and our yortzites that occur for us on this Shabbat: Lois Eisenberg, Ruth Bloom, Selma Brick, Sadie Furing, Morris Goldstein, Louis Granofsky, David Huffman, Eleanor Kandel, Marcia Kane, Bernard Leventhal, Neil Lulav, Philip Nadell, Eli Plaskow, Matilda Richmond, Burton Rubin, Hyman Sachs, Harvey Sandler, Nora Shaughnessy, Storm Shaughnessy, Benjamin Skolnick, Elizabeth Solomon, Saul Steinberg, Sadie Stern, Schulman, Milton Wash, Ann Weinstein Koch, Aaron Worm, Rose Zuckerman. To those names, we had any name that you would like to add at this time. Kadisha Tom Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 294. Yitkadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chai echon v'yom echon v'chai dechol Beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, v'yitaдар v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei likudisha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran ba'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, as together we say, Amen. Please be seated. We are going to conclude our service this evening with Tfilat Haderech.
May we be blessed as we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. May we be sheltered by the wings of peace. May we be kept in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find our way to every soul. May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen.
Adonai Oz la'amo yiten, Adonai varech et amo v'shalom. May God who gives strength unto our people continue to bless us with hope and strength and love and peace. Shabbat shalom, everybody.